Hey everyone, Crystal with Crystal Clear College Planning. I just wanted to do kind of a 411 on admissions and financial aid trends because I just got back from conference and Jeff Salingo, who some of you may know, is pretty prominent in the industry and is following what we call the demographic cliff, or it's the enrollment cliff for the lack of students that are going to be graduating from high school and going off to college. And why this is a challenge for families and also can be used as a benefit. So I want you to understand kind of the logistics behind what's just happening in college admissions and financial aid at this point in time. So there are, I'm going to call it an obscene amount of applications that have been getting submitted to universities, and Common App just did an update as well, and the numbers keep trending up. And as much as some of us may think that then that is a good thing, it can be a negative because there are so many kids that are applying to not just like 4 or 5 schools, but 15, 20 to 20 schools. And that actually makes it harder for colleges to know who's going to enroll in their institution. So we call that enrollment yield in the business side of college. And so now colleges are really starting to more actively track demonstrated interest. So whether you are going to be talking to your admissions rep or going on a college tour, or what are those ways that you are engaging with the university? And for the most part, if you think about kind of the institutions across the country, those huge flagship state schools or the Ivy League institutions don't tend to get impacted in these kinds of scenarios, but our regional institutions or the smaller liberal arts schools are the ones that are impacted, because usually if you get into a Princeton, right, you're going to go to Princeton regardless of the cost. For a lot of families, they're like, I will make it work. I hear that all the time. But where this becomes important in thinking about opportunity is, so that means that 1, you have an opportunity to show the college that you're interested and engaged, and 2, you have the ability to also negotiate offers. So we heard from a lot of schools, Syracuse was just one of those examples where they gave 0 scholarships to students, but then once those students said no, they came back and actually offered a $20,000, "Are you sure you don't want to come here?" scholarship. And even schools like University of Denver, when we were at conference, said, we didn't meet our numbers. So if you have kids that are still interested and would like to come, feel free to send them our way. So it's starting to happen slowly at those schools that also have very high looking prices, but also are willing to give discounts, but they're playing a game. So really we think about, yet again, college as a business in regards to this. And so what I found interesting about just kind of what was going on was there was a national survey of 3,500 parents that then was trying to figure out kind of like, well, what's going on in the mind of parents right now? And they are actually talking about building shorter, more strategic college lists. Smart. And not in prioritizing the schools that they can get into and that they can afford. Stuff we talk about all the time. And I feel like this is often one of those things like that I am like beating into people at times. Like it's really hard for them to understand, like there really is a marriage in this process where you can find a happy space. And it's not about just the prestige of the school, but understanding where you can bring that sticker price down, and that families are looking for value and transparency, right? Like what is going to be the return on investment in doing this? And one of the sad things that was noticed is that reputation still drives the decisions, and it's not like necessarily thinking about the brand name reputation of the school. I have seen that come into play for sure, but it's also about how your community perceives the value of the kinds of schools that you're looking at. So it's more social, and that can be more than from the parents, or like if you are in a, like I'm in a very I'm going to call it challenging area for the sake of just like the kinds of pressure that is put on parents and students in looking at the right kinds of schools, or like they're not the same kind of schools that are, 20% acceptance rates or lower. And so they're not good enough, right? Like there's that perceived um, prestige factor. And what was crazy, and that I loved about this survey was that, so like the entry level jobs are being impacted by automation and AI. And I get that question a lot from families that are concerned about it. Like, well, how do I make sure that my major where I choose to go is like AI proof? And I'm like, well, you can't. It's paired with what are the skills and the experience that you're getting while you're there. And what are you going to do about building these soft skills and making it so that you are AI proofing yourself in this grand scheme of things? Um, and so they were looking at like student satisfaction based on different college tiers. And so it was the same as going to an elite institution as it was to a non-elite institution in regards to their satisfaction. Really, what drove, like, so, right. And what I mean by that is like, it didn't matter whether you went to Stanford or Western Washington. It mattered how you showed up and how you engaged. So while you were there, did you do internships or faculty mentored research? Or did you do some other hands-on experiential learning? And that was the thing that was setting students apart in terms of like their return on investment for the sake of their education, but also obviously getting best positioned for jobs afterwards. So what we talk about is just redefining what a dream school is, right? It's not where you go, it's how you go and how you choose to show up. So it's where you should feel connected and supported, where they're offering you meaningful experiences. It aligns with your academic, personal, and financial goals, right? Like, who are the kinds of people that you want to be around, making sure that you're not just choosing a school based on the name brand, because there are some really terrible name brand institutions out there, in terms of just the how they show up may not vibe with who you are and really what you're trying to achieve, even though there's this perceived notion that if I go to this school that I should get this end result, and that's not the case. And so it really taking a deeper look at what the institution is about and making a smart list of schools where you have the ability to also understand that if you're looking at some of those more regional or public or private institutions, in all reality, that is where there is opportunity for negotiation and competitive award offers, and those sorts of things that you may not have heard of or experienced when you're looking at those top tier institutions, because they just don't have to, right? Like they're in a different league and a different game. But as there is more of a crunch, right, there is less students graduating from high school, the colleges are going to be competing for a smaller group of students. And so there's going to be shifts in regards to this. So understanding that we want a family to plan early, and that you're choosing to engage with the institutions is actually going to positively impact you in this, and that you can start to build those relationships. When we have families that really work through this process the way that we coach and teach, they have the most fabulous results. One, not just financially in terms of the outcomes, but two, really starting to learn who they are and what kind of institution really matches with them, which is profound when you think about setting yourself up for success in regards to these next steps. So just, this is, as I'm recording this, right, like is a what's happening in college admissions as of today, and recognizing our opportunities moving forward. So I hope that you guys like and follow, and make sure that you are tracking with other fun updates that we have.